Hello, everyone. Welcome to R&R, Relationships in Real Estate. I'm your host, Chris Silva, and this is my beautiful wife, Corey Silva.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're super excited to have you here. Chris and I are the owners of Silva Realty and Silva Lending. And just to give you a little bit of a background about us, our history has been in the real estate and mortgage industry. I used to work at Washington Mutual and Downey Savings in the early 2000s and then made the jump over to real estate and lending in 2004. And here we are 17 years later. You want to give a little bit of a history about yourself?
Sure. Corey was the trailblazer. You got into the business first. Mm-hmm. I got in shortly afterwards. I was actually doing construction at the gas company, which is crazy.
Yes.
20 years ago. Jumped in on the loan side, worked at Countrywide for about 3 years and some change. Did a lot of volume for them. And then decided to get into real estate right when the market crashed.
What a great time for you to learn.
Best time to learn. So anyhow, I've been in the business about 17 years total.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your history. We are excited to have you back. We haven't been on our podcast for a couple weeks now, and we're excited that you're here because we've missed you. We missed that engagement and our clients joining us and future clients as well. So please engage with us, ask us some questions while you're on here today because we would love to talk with you. And we want to just kind of share what's been happening with us in the last 2 weeks. So did you want to tell them a little bit about your excitement?
Sure. I mean, just a quick recap on what we've been doing. So a couple weeks back, Corey made me sell one of my kidneys, and we got the magic key, right? Is that what it's called? The magic key?
It's called the magic key.
For Disneyland. So we're really going to try to go as much as possible.
We have to make it worth it, you know? I mean, we just made this huge investment. So we've already been 4 times?
Well, you've been.
I've been 4 times since we purchased this last month.
We went 2 Fridays ago. So we've always tried to do family Fridays. That's right. Really big. We do our best to keep up with that. So we kicked it off with Disneyland a couple Fridays ago. Kids love that. But then I went to the grown-up Disneyland on Sunday, went to Las Vegas, had to be there for opening weekend of football, and more importantly, Monday Night Football with the Raiders.
Which is Chris's team. He had so much fun there. Yeah, let me tell you a little bit of an anecdote behind that because Chris had planned on making it a couples trip. I was originally invited to go to the Raiders game with him and his best friend and his wife. And then somehow I just got kicked out of the picture. I didn't get to go. But that's okay because he had a lot of fun with his friends.
The trip was kind of hijacked. But
yeah.
We'll get more into the Vegas a little bit later. What I was really surprised about and pretty proud of you about is you took the kids to Disneyland all by yourself.
Oh, yeah. It was so much fun.
The Sunday that I went out to Vegas, you decided to take the kids back to Disneyland a couple days later.
Well, I was so surprised that they even had a reservation available because you have to make a reservation if you want to go to Disneyland, right? Whether you have a key or a day pass. And I went on that night and I said, gosh, what are we going to do tomorrow? Dad's going to be in Vegas. The kids are already going to be missing him. So I said, let's just go to Disneyland again. I think I got this down pretty well. And there was no reservations available. So I said, oh, there goes my dreams. But I checked in again at 11:30 because you have the day before that you have to cancel.
While we were still awake, hanging out with our family, because we have our siblings come over on Saturdays. So mind you, a little bit of a Disneyland hangover on Saturday.
Yes.
Right? I went out, showed property, did all that stuff. You were taking care of the babies. Then we have our family over. You make a big feast, right? Then we're up till 11, 12 o'clock with them.
And I got the reservation, so it was so awesome.
Right, and then you still had the energy to go the very next day to
Anything
Disneyland.
for the babies.
Superwoman.
It's all about the babies.
Superwoman.
So anyways, looks like we have some guests that have joined us. Thank you so much. Hi, Monica. She's always showing up to our podcast, and we really appreciate you and your support.
We love you, Monica.
I can't wait to see you tomorrow at Jiu-Jitsu. It's been a long time. So anyways, that's what we've had going on that first weekend.
That was the first weekend.
And then after that, so I did Disneyland. I survived Disneyland. We'll get into details about what to expect when you go there. And then the following weekend, which was this past weekend.
Which came up really quick.
Super fast. Chris and I went to a conference in Dallas, and it was focused on REO and foreclosures and the state of the market. So we're super excited to be able to share some of that with you guys today and dive into what we can expect in the next couple of years with real estate. So.
Sure. From a different perspective, because it's not our perspective, more like the troops on the ground floor, dealing with buyers and sellers direct. This is going to be more about the perspective from banks and the foreclosures that they anticipate hitting the market, as well as asset managers that work for the banks. And we also had servicers. And we also had a very high up that ran the REO division for Fannie Mae, was one of the speakers there. So we
Freddie
heard
Mac too. So we got some really, really good information to share. And so we're super excited about all the stuff that we've learned, and we've made some really good connections there. And really, we like to go to things like this because our number one goal is to educate our clients and help them make their best decisions when purchasing a home. So we feel like this is going to be such a great resource for you all. And even for people who already have bought a home, like what you can expect with your equity, right? Or if you're planning on making improvements to your home, like would now be the good time. So those are some really cool things that we could share with them.
I'm excited to share that stuff. But what I'm really excited about more than anything else is, do you know what today is?
Today is Wednesday?
It's hump day, Wednesday, yes. But today's the first day of fall, my favorite season.
Fall.
I love fall.
Yeah, Chris is going to get his Uggs out. I'm just kidding. He doesn't have Uggs.
Yeah, maybe I should get some.
Okay.
No, Tom Brady wears Uggs. Did you know that? That's why I don't wear them. I'm not a Tom Brady fan. But so Uggs, pumpkin spice lattes. More importantly than anything is football's back. I'm excited about football, especially Raider football. But I'll save that for later.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure they'll be excited to hear about it. For everybody who's just joining us now, quick introduction. I'm Corey Silva, and this is Chris Silva. We're the owners of Silva Realty and Silva Lending, and you're joining us on R&R Relationships and Real Estate. So thank you for joining us today.
I'd love to hear from anybody that's joining us right now. What does fall mean to you? What does fall mean to you, babe?
Fall means to me, getting cozy, spending evenings with the kids, making soup, drinking lots of coffee, warm coffee. I don't know, just getting cozy and like more family time. I don't know. For me, I love fall. It's the best time of the year for me.
You know, I get to stop wearing suits pretty soon.
Why?
Because, it's fall, it's like flannels and boots and
You don't
jeans.
wear flannels.
I'm going to start. I'm going to grow my beard out.
No, you are not going to grow your beard out.
It's going to be big and white, ready for Christmas.
Okay. Thank you, Santa.
Grow my panza out too.
Okay. Let's not do that. Well, that's what fall means to Chris, is flannels, big bellies, and big beards. So what does fall mean for real estate?
That's a great question. I mean, it's definitely a lot different than summer, right? And I think there's different seasons for the weather, there's different seasons for real estate.
Absolutely.
So typically, and I don't want to get too much into the boring part of it, but typically seller side during fall, there's people that need to sell, that want to sell, right? They're always going to be there. There's always people that need to sell. But there's a lot of sellers that wanted to sell in the summer, but they didn't pull the trigger. And they think that the fall is just as hot as the summer, and it's not at all.
Okay.
At all. So you'll have some of those sellers that are like, oh, my neighbor sold for, $1 million. So that means I want to sell it for $1.1 million. But it's not the same market. You can't do that. So anybody selling now, still a great time to sell. We just got to do a little bit more work.
Okay.
It's not as easy in the fall as it was in the summer. In the summer, you slap any kind of pictures up there and houses were going. Now you got to make sure your house is looking sharp, right? Everything's ready. It's professional photos, video, staged, or at least decluttered, right? And it's all about presentation. So that's for sellers now, but for buyers now, pretty amazing, choices, exciting times.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? We actually have a little bit more inventory than we did last month, which is shocking for this time of year. And sure, I mean, we still have multiple offers on some homes, but for the most part, there are more options. You can go on the market today in Santa Clarita. I could find 10 homes that have been on the market for 2+ weeks.
Oh, wow.
Which you would have never found in the summer, right?
Right. So if you are out there and you're getting tired of looking for a home, there is hope. There is a chance out there that you can find your forever home that you're going to absolutely love, because it sounds to me like now is a good time.
I think now's a great time. I mean, you really hit the ground running right now. There's a chance you could be in during Thanksgiving.
Right.
Definitely Christmas and, any of the other December holidays, right? You could definitely get in now. Start looking now. I think we can get you in by then.
Okay. Well, that sounds great. Well, some of the things that I've been noticing, contrary to what you're saying and that it's a buyer's market, is the new construction that's coming out. I know we plan on talking about that, but I want to kind of make this a personal thing for us, because we've kind of prepared ourselves to purchase a new home, right? And it's fall. So in my mind, as a buyer, things are slowing down. I could get this house.
Sure.
But maybe that's not true for new construction, right? Because Toll Brothers finally came out with their pricing, and these are the homes that Chris and I were considering. And I'm so
strongly considering.
And
I envision myself living there already.
Oh, me too. And it's all renderings. You don't even get to see them yet. And I said, oh my gosh, this is finally it. It's coming. Like, it's the end of summer. Maybe the pricing will be great and we can get in there. But then the pricing came in, right? Can you tell me a little bit about it? Because you've gotten all the details. We have quite a few clients who are interested in there. We've reached out to our potential neighbors and said, hey, let's all move there because you're a great family. We all want to live by you. And this is a perfect house, right? And perfect future for us. But then I saw the pricing and I got a little discouraged.
I think I got more discouraged. I think I cried myself to sleep the first night. Anyhow, I think I cried myself to sleep the first night. I was pretty sad about it. I mean, the pricing came out. It was about $250,000 more than we thought it was going to be.
Yes.
Right. So that was discouraging.
Mm-hmm.
So for anybody that's been following what we're talking about, we wanted to purchase homes at Toll Brothers behind Magic Mountain in the 5 Point community. We were hoping the pricing was going to be about $1.25 million for the lot that we wanted. Mm-hmm. Pricing came out, it's $1.5 million. So now we're at the very tippy top. Can we still do it? Sure, possibly, yes. But then on top of that, there's a $550 a month, if you break it down monthly, Melrose. For anybody that doesn't know what's Melrose?
Melrose is a bond that the builder takes out, and they basically finance the infrastructure of the community. So
Parks,
like the schools, the parks, and everything, and they pass that on to the homeowner. So it's in the form of a bond that the homeowner pays, and it could be anywhere from 30 to 40 years. But I think a lot of the times what people don't realize is that could actually be renewed after the 30 or 40 years.
Sure. And in my head, I didn't think they were going to have Melrose because in Skyline, which is a different community in Santa Clarita, Toll Brothers was the only builder that did not have Melrose.
Yeah, it was a huge incentive for people to buy there.
Well, that's why you would pay $300,000 more for their home because they don't have Melrose, right? So $550 for the Melrose, $400 for the HOA. And on top of that, they say 20% of whatever the purchase price, expect to spend that in upgrades.
Okay, so
$2 million.
It's calculating in my head, yeah.
Right, we're up to $2 million. And then the last thing, which, I mean, all I could do is laugh about it. I'm not going to get mad about it. They didn't even want to deal with anybody that needs financing.
That's pretty sad.
They only wanted cash buyers, right? And it's smart. It's a smart play if you look at it, and I'll get into that some other time. But anyhow, so we're in the same boat as a lot of buyers out there that feel like maybe you got priced out of the market. We definitely got priced out of the area that we wanted to. So maybe we have to sit back, regroup, and think, do we want to make a move or do we not want to make a move? But that's what it's been like for us. Let's see. We have some comments here, babe. Do you want to take this?
Well, first of all, we have some
sweater
new
weather.
guests who joined us. Monica responded and she said sweater weather for fall. And yeah, that's what that means to me too.
Hoodies.
Yes. And then Tanya and Julia have both joined us. Thank you so much for joining us today on R&R Relationships in Real Estate with Chris and Corey. And Tanya says hi. Hi.
Hi, Tanya.
And then Julia had a question in regards to new home builders. She said, what about other builders? Are they more reasonable? And I think it really just depends on the area, right? So you're familiar with a lot of the new builders out here and some of the different areas. Would you say based on area or just builder, they're a little bit more reasonable? Because Toll Brothers in different areas pays for the Mellorees, right?
Sure. I think Toll Brothers is the luxury brand, so they're a little bit more expensive, Julia. And then we have a bunch of, right underneath, we got Tri-Point, you have Lennar, KB, probably in that order, that pecking order of most expensive to least expensive. For us, though, if we're personally going to make a move, because we're still finding our house, right, which we've determined. But if we're going to make the move, we want certain things that, unfortunately, out of all these builders today, it could change with a different product if they have new stuff coming out. Mm-hmm. But as of today, the only one that was going to be able to satisfy what we were looking for was Toll Brothers. Because we want a bigger yard. We want a modern house, right? Mm-hmm. We want that big, open, grand room, right? That beautiful kitchen, the big kitchen to entertain. There's a lot of things that we want that this place had to offer, which right now at 5 Point, all the other properties only have a side yard or no yard. Mm-hmm. So we're not interested in that. But yes, there are other builders, and there's a space for everybody. But for us specifically, what we were looking for, that was the only one that was going to work.
So we're back to the drawing board now, and we're content in our home. And it's fall, so I don't need a pool. Right. That was like the main reason. It was just so hot I wanted a pool. But today it's the first day of fall, and it is so hot out there. So please cool down, fall weather. Which, since we're talking about fall, let's talk a little bit about our fall fall family appreciation event that we have coming up. It's the Fall Festival.
Sure. So we do have a Fall Festival coming up next month. It's coming up really quick.
It's coming up so quick. It's going to be on the 24th, and we will be having our invitations going out very soon. So make sure, just kind of block that out on your calendar, because we really want to see everybody and their beautiful families. We're going to have a great time. It's going to all be outdoors, and we're going to have food catered there from The Habit. So it'll be a lot of fun. We'll have games and a lot of fun activities for families. So
I think the biggest thing is, so for people that don't know, we just had an event.
Yes.
Right. So we had an event at Brewery Jaconum. That was more like an adult event, right? Mm-hmm. The reason I say adult is because there was liquor involved. Right. It was at a brewery.
Okay.
Right. But there was good music. There was prizes. It was a good time. I love that event, but this fall event is my favorite.
Yeah.
What about you?
Fun. Oh, I love them both. And just being able to see our clients, our friends, our family. It's a fun time to get out, and with COVID, everybody's been in their homes, so to be able to have that interaction and still be safe by wearing your mask, then I think it's great that we could actually get out and see people. We need that human interaction, right?
Sure, and we'll be outdoors, so people could be as far as close to each other as they want to be, right? Mm-hmm. So it's really safe. We're going to have the Habit food truck out there. That's going to be cool.
Yep.
There's a lot of cool things. We'll have games for the kids.
And we have a lot of little details that we're still ironing out, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So please mark it on your calendar, and we'll let you know when we're sending out an invite so you could keep your eye out for it. So speaking of family fun, what kind of family fun do we have on the horizon?
I think because I had to sell a kidney for these magic passes, I think we're going to have a lot of Disneyland fun coming up.
Well, our kids, we were gone for that conference we just mentioned, and we were gone for, it was 4 days, but it felt like an eternity. And our kids were really, really missing us, and we were missing them so much. But I mean, when they're about to cry on the FaceTime call each time, you just got to keep reminding them, okay, what can we do to make things better? Oh, we'll go to Disneyland on Friday. So we kind of had to bribe them with that, but we're going on this Friday, and
I don't know if it was a bribe necessarily. It was more just give them something to look forward to.
Yes, for sure.
Hey, mommy and daddy are coming back. Then a couple days later, we're going to Disneyland.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. And aside from the incentive to go to Disneyland, they have the best grandparents watching them while we were gone.
Oh my gosh.
So
yes.
I don't know what we would do without my mom and dad. They did such a great job. And I have to give a huge shout out to my mom, because for those of you who have joined us on our past podcast and who are parents themselves, you know about dropping off and picking up at school is no joke,
stressful.
right? So Grandma did that for 2 days. And Grandma did a good job.
I asked the kids, I was like, how many people did Grandma cuss out in the car?
I don't know if she cussed them out, but she did. Nola did say Grandma yelled a little bit when they went to go get Santino, which you have to expect that because people have high emotions at pickup and drop off. But Grandma and Papa did a wonderful job taking care of our babies. And whenever they have them over on a weekend night, Papa takes pride in having what he calls his movie nights. So he gets his movie projector out, and they made it a big event. They went and picked out their own movie at Walmart and then came back. And it's not just our kids that are there. It's our nieces that come, and even the neighborhood kids.
The neighborhood kids too.
And my dad sets up chairs in their driveway, and everybody sits around and watches a movie for them. And he even goes so far as to making popcorn for everyone, which is super sweet. I mean, I wish I had a grandpa like that growing up.
No, don't kid me too.
Yeah, so they had a great time. And Grandma, she pulls out all the stops too. You know, she's in charge of like taking them to school for us. And she has her favorite cookie shop in Canyon Country that she goes to. It's Mr. DeVar's, DW Cookie. And she used to work with him way back in the day.
Company.
At the phone company. And our kids just love Mr. DeVar. So props to Grandma. So thank you so much for taking care of our babies and making sure that they weren't too sad while we were gone.
Right.
Spoiling them with treats.
And we saw them last night. We got in real late last night, and we said, "Hey, we really want to treat you for treating our kids so good. How about we buy you some tickets to Disneyland?"
My dad said, no. Mom said, no. My dad hasn't been to Disneyland in, I think, 30 years since I was a kid.
It'd be a lot of walking.
Oh, well, we would get him a wheelchair or something,
Right.
Get him around.
So speaking of Disneyland, for anybody wondering, are you missing out? I think I have mixed emotions about Disneyland, especially from what we're used to before. We used to, before the ban, before the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And then now, let me ask you, do you feel like there's a little magic missing? Like, what's your feeling at Disneyland?
I love Disneyland so much, everything Disney. And there's just, like you said, there's a lot of mixed emotion, because when I get there, I have that feeling of like, oh my gosh, there's so much excitement. And yes, I do know we have lines we have to wait in. And yes, I know there's lines to get in through the parking. So you're waiting anticipation, and it's like, I feel like there is a little bit of the magic gone away. There's no trams to take you to the front gate, which that's fine. I can walk. I'm going to be walking all day anyways. But I feel like COVID is what caused them to not do the trams, because you had to be socially distanced, right?
Sure.
But when you go in the park, you're still close to everybody, and there's still lines, and you're still wearing your mask. What is your excuse, Disney, for not having a tram?
Exactly. And then on top, and you're outdoors. It's not like it's a closed tram.
Yeah, it's
open air. Everybody's walking. We're all packed in like sardines walking down that long walkway. I call it the walk of shame on the way back.
On the way back, it's challenging on the way back, because
kids are tired. We're tired.
The kids are tired. I mean, we can't even upgrade ourselves to go there without a stroller. We still need that, because they're way too tired to make that walk. And I think to myself, well, maybe if you let me walk through downtown Disney, you're going to get my money. Either I'm going to buy some snacks.
Get a coffee on the way.
I'm going to get a coffee. I'm going to buy some toys for my kid. I will spend money. So let me walk through downtown Disney, and they won't let you do that.
It's so strange. And then it's so funny. I love the little things that Disney does that you could pick up on if you're really paying attention. Mm-hmm. Like the bug spray.
Yeah, so on the way out, they have like automatic bug sprayers or something.
At least I didn't get bit by mosquitoes.
At least I'm not getting bit by a mosquito like I am at home.
See?
It looks like we have a comment here from Urvashi. Thank you so much for joining us, Urvashi. She said, same here. I don't like the lines. The packages are becoming expensive. My child is not into waiting. That's the other thing, the not into waiting. Okay, so their capacity at Disneyland, yes, it's a lot lower. You're not waiting so long in the lines, but one of the drawbacks is they don't have the Fast Pass anymore.
That's tough.
And that's something that I would invest in just to keep myself sane and my kids sane, because like you said, Urvashi, your kids don't want to wait in lines. Like it's supposed to be magical there. You're having a great time. Who wants to be miserable, especially when it's hot out? When I went a couple Fridays ago, it was so hot. So they've come out with some other cool things, which are the virtual queues for the longer, newer rides. And the new Spider-Man ride has a virtual queue.
I missed the Spider-Man ride. That was the day that I didn't go. I think you probably took them there on purpose.
Okay. You need to get out your own head. Went there and had fun. You had your fun at your Disneyland. So anyways, I got in the virtual queue. I was super excited. I'm like, yes, we're not going to have, it's only 2 times a day at 8 a.m. and at noon. And if you don't get your spot in line, then you're not going on the ride that day. So I was so excited we were able to get our virtual spot for that ride. And we walk up, it's brand new. Spider-Man's flying in the sky, which that was so amazing. Our kids were
that video you shared with me was amazing.
Nuts. They were going out of their minds. Santino was like, what? Is he flying in the sky? So we're super excited to be there. We get to the queue and they're like, welcome. The girl's super nice. The cast member was very friendly, which that's another topic we'll get into later. She was super friendly. So we're waiting in line and waiting in line, waiting in more lines. And I'm like, when are we going to get in there? And I can't say anything because I don't want to fuel the negativity,
with the
right?
kids.
So we're waiting. And Santino's like, how much longer, Mommy? We're not even in that building yet. And we get in the building and he's like, another line. And I'm like, I'm sorry, baby, but this is an exciting new ride. You're going to have a lot of fun. And by the time we got on the ride, it was a 45-minute wait with the virtual queue. I could not believe it. Luckily, they were troopers, and Santino and Nola got on the ride. He was having so much fun, and I'm not going to be like a spoiler for the ride for those of you who haven't been on it, but it is interactive, and Santino was having so much fun that he flung off his 3D glasses while he was doing it on the ride. It was just so much fun, and at the end, he said, Mommy, that was so much worth it, so worth the wait. I can't wait to come on it again with Daddy. So just be aware, try to be patient. There are going to be those extraordinary rides that you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer for, but yeah, I'm just like, these little magical things, like little things being taken away, and I don't know, it's just, I guess that's a trade-off, and hopefully over time the CEO will try to make some changes, because I feel like some of these things they're just taking away.
Well, they're coming out with some kind of Genie, right?
Yeah, the Genie Plus is coming out, which is going to be similar to the Fast Pass, which will alleviate some headaches for us parents who have children who don't want to wait. I mean, I get it. 45 minutes is a long time to wait in line.
One of the positive things I could say about Disneyland, though, it does seem like there's less people there.
Yeah, it does seem like there's a lot less people there. And I was just reading an article today that their reservation system has allowed them to, I guess, gauge how many people, since they'll know how many people are going to be there, how many cast members will be there, and how they can cater toward the guest. But I think what I noticed with the new CEO is he's really losing sight of what's the most important thing there, not just the reservation system, is the cast members. They really need to invest in their cast members, because I don't know about you, but lately I've been noticing they're not that chipper. They don't have the knowledge that the ones had before. Maybe they're just newly hired, but
I think that's what it is.
Something needs to be tweaked there, because I feel like before it was they were in character when you came up, and that's why you're a cast member. Now it's kind of like, oh, they're sitting there talking and not really wanting to help you, or not knowing even where to go for certain things.
Right, not basic information.
Yeah,
I felt like you can tell that a lot of these people, the employees there, are newer employees that haven't had the same training that previous employees have had. You could see it, because we asked a simple question. There's a perk, right, to being a magical key member, whatever they call it. That there's like a little room that we can go and take pictures with some of the characters, right?
Yeah, there's a magical pass lounge where you could go take pictures with characters, which that is so challenging to do now. So I was all about that, but no one knew exactly where it was, even though I had it on the map and I was trying to figure out how to get there. We went through 4 or 5 different people, and 20 minutes later, and when we finally figured out where it was on our own, it's because it was already done for the day.
I felt like I was at Home Depot. Like, hey, do you know where the screwdrivers are? And then they're like, oh, well, I think it's somewhere down aisle 17. And then you go to 17 and it's not there. And then you see another cast member, another person that works, and they're like, oh, actually, it's on 16, just right behind you. Can you show me? Well, I'm working with so-and-so. So then you got to go, and then it's not there either.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of that going on at Disneyland.
And I just feel like maybe it's the company as a whole. They need to give them those resources and really build up the cast members, because they are truly what the magic is there. They help bring that
Absolutely.
to life. So for all you cast members who are out there and you're not getting the proper treatment, I'm sorry, but I'm filling out my surveys, because every time I go to Disneyland, I get an email survey, and you better believe I fill it out, because I want that magical experience each time I go. So it looks like we had a few more comments. It looks like Urvashi said, exactly, by the way, you both look great. Oh, thank you so much.
You.
And then Julia Markovich, easier to get on the rides. It is a lot easier to get on the rides with the less capacity.
With the less capacity, yes. Yeah. It seemed like the average wait time is about 20, 25 minutes, which, big thing, Nola, the first ride she wanted to get on was Splash Mountain.
Yes.
Right? So we get there, Splash Mountain, beeline it to Splash Mountain. We were smarter than the average bear, and I think Santino came up with this idea.
He said, why don't we take our flip-flops with us? I'm like, brilliant. We're not going to have wet feet all day.
Yeah, the wet feet.
So we had our flip-flops. We changed our shoes really quick and brought an extra pair of clothes, of course, for the kids, because Tino got absolutely drenched. And Nola's first ride on it, the ride broke down.
Luckily, we went down the big drop first, and then it broke down.
Yes, yes. So I told her, silver lining, you got to ride the ride. Now we're stuck for 20 minutes here on a log. It's okay. And luckily, Disney does do something to incentivize that wait, so people don't get so upset when the rides break down. And they gave us a pass, so we were able to get on another ride, which we ended up using over at California Adventure. We went on Soaring Over the World.
Yeah, I think used to be called Soaring California. Right now
it's called Soaring Over the World. So Tino got to go on his ride that he was hoping for, and Nola got to go on hers. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Nola's pretty daring.
Yes.
So she's been on Guardians of the Galaxy. So for those of you that don't know what that is, you might think it's child abuse that I took her on that ride.
Oh my gosh. No, because she hit the height requirement. She's fine. There's plenty of kids that go on there.
Her butt was coming off the chair.
Well, my butt comes off
and
the
I was
chair.
holding her the whole time, but she did keep her eyes open. She never closed her eyes, to her credit.
She's very brave.
And so now she's at that age. Her and Santino are at that age where they're finally starting to get a little bit competitive with each other. Mm-hmm. So she likes to rub it in his face that, well, I didn't close my eyes.
Well, he closed his eyes.
Because he closed his eyes.
Yeah. So, well, that's okay. Each kid's different.
I think it's funny that she does that.
Well, that's her older brother. She wants to have something that she could have up on him, right?
Sure.
So thank you, everybody, so much for joining us today. For those of you who are just now joining us, I am Corey Silva. This is Chris Silva, and we are the owners of Silva Realty and Silva Lending. And you're joining us on our podcast, R&R, Relationships and Real Estate. And we're super excited to have you guys here. Thank you so much for joining us. Did you want to kind of get back into some real estate talk now?
I guess we could talk about real estate too. It's so much more fun to talk about Disneyland.
I know.
Yeah, so, I mean, a couple things to talk about. One, if just going back to Five Knolls, I had a whole thing I wanted to talk about last week about how Lennar would not let people come to see the models. When I say people, I mean agents.
And this is only at 5 Point.
Only at 5 Point.
Okay.
And I was so ready to badmouth them. I'm not going to lie. I was ready.
He was getting really upset. I mean, for you to want to go in and represent your client and help them make a huge decision and show them models, you should be able to go there so you could point out things that maybe as a buyer, you're not looking at, because you're just seeing all the bells and whistles and the fully remodeled home. So, or not fully modeled home, not remodeled home. And Lennar wasn't letting agents go in there with them.
And we know what our clients want, right? We've been working with our buyers. We personally know them, so we could point out things that they might not see on their own. So it was really frustrating not being able to go to the models ourselves. And what was more frustrating was KB Home, whose models are right next door to Lennar. They've been allowing agents to go for the last 3 months.
Right, and you've already been there.
So that's water under the bridge. As of this weekend, Lennar opened up those models to everybody.
Oh, that's great.
So I haven't been there yet because we got back into town last night, but I will stop by maybe today to finally see what a lot of our clients have already seen.
Yes. And you can share that with us. It's funny because our clients do share all the paperwork they get from there. So I don't really understand what the big secret was about letting agents go in there. But that's okay. I'm glad you can finally go.
Nice.
So we already talked a little bit about Toll Brothers. Their pricing is finally out. So anybody who is considering the 5-point community, Toll Brothers has their luxury homes available as well. And
With no models yet.
With no models yet, but they do have specs and
Floor plans, rendering.
Plans.
Yeah, we have that stuff.
And we also have a map of what lots are available at the moment.
Sure, which might have changed over the weekend, but yes. Mm-hmm. I think they released like 10 homes, and their plan is maybe 7 homes. I think they're going to have 10 phases of 7 homes, so a total of 70 homes.
Oh, okay. That's great.
Yeah, so we'll see how fast they sell or don't sell. I'm really interested to see how the sales go there.
Me too.
At that price point, because that's a new price point for Santa Clarita. That's not something that we're really used to.
Usually you see that price point behind the gates in West Ranch.
West Ridge, yes.
Or West Ridge, I'm sorry.
That's
the high school.
Next to West Ranch.
Or in Sand Canyon.
Sand Canyon, yes. So we do see that there, which the market has really picked up in West Ridge. Mm-hmm. So for us, being in 91381 zip code, right? We're always looking at Southern Oaks, or we're looking at West Ridge, which is strange that it's considered Valencia, but it's the same zip code as Stevenson Ranch, right?
Correct.
But those sales have really picked up in there, and I'm sure that is what the new builder, Toll Brothers, is looking at. They're wondering if people are going to pay that same amount for a brand new neighborhood. A couple big differences, though. West Ridge is a gated community. Mm-hmm. Okay, with a guard. Okay, it's not just gated. There's also a guard there on the left side next to the golf course, right? So, I mean, that adds, it's like it puts it in the upper echelon, right?
Right. And it's on a golf course as well.
Yes, and you got the golf course there. And then you have 3 of the top schools in the whole valley walking distance from the houses, right? Which you want to do because there's a big old cluster in the morning with the cars.
Yeah, the traffic.
But you have the elementary school, a junior high, and a high school, all 10s right there.
Right.
Right. But, going to this new construction, and this is something that we were willing to do at a certain price point, you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what schools are going to, the schools are divided now depending on where you purchase. Kids will go to, one school or the other, Bridgeport or Oak.
Right.
You have that going on, but there's a lot of unknown, and there's no gate, right? There's no guard gate. It's not a gated community. It's right behind Magic Mountain, which, let's keep it real, Magic Mountain has a little bit of riffraff there.
Oh, I don't know about all that, but there are loud roller coasters.
Well, it's kids, right? So like Disneyland, it's different. It's geared towards families. We're going to, you know what, guys? We're going to be taking a break, and we'll be back with you soon, but do you want to finish up?
Actually, before we go, I wanted to say hello to someone who joined us.
Yes, please.
Christian Silva joined us. Thank you so much, Christian. I'm sorry we're going to be taking a break right now, but please stay tuned. It's going to be a quick break. Thank you all for joining us today, and we're looking forward to talking more with you on R&R Relationships in Real Estate with Corey and Chris Silva, and we'll talk to you very soon. Thank you all so much for joining us.
everyone. Welcome back to R&R, Relationships in Real Estate. I'm your host, Chris Silva, and this is my beautiful wife, Corey Silva.
Thank you all so much for joining us today. We're super excited to be back here on our podcast. Chris and I are the owners of Silva Realty and Silva Lending, and we have been in the real estate and mortgage industry for about 17 years now. So we're super excited to have you to talk a little bit about real estate and relationships.
Sure, and to talk about what we've been doing since we've been gone, because we've been off the show for 2 weeks, right?
Right. We had a little bit of a break.
We had have had a little bit of a break. I'm fumbling my words here. But we went to Texas recently. So this is the longest we've been away from our kids. It was a very tough trip because of that, right? But we got to Texas Saturday morning and then got back late last night, which is Tuesday night.
Right.
But what's why did we go?
So we went on our trip to Texas, and it was a real estate conference for foreclosures and REOs, and talking about the market and what we can expect from it. And just a little bit of a segue. It looks like we have a few more people who have joined us. So hi, Christian. Thank you so much for coming on. And Tanya was laughing, probably about something with Disneyland. So Probably. So anyways, getting back to our trip and what we learned there in Dallas, it was a conference that normally is really big from what we've heard. This is our first time attending this particular conference. It was called 5 Star. And we were invited by one of the really big HUD agents out here who's super nice, and she's got a wealth of knowledge. So she told us about this conference, and Laura Dietz, and we met with her while we were there. And we learned so much, about what we're currently experiencing in our market and what we can expect coming in the next year and a half to 2 years. And some of the people that we heard speak there were from either Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, a lot of the bigger servicers, a lot of the bigger lenders, and they had a wealth of knowledge to share with us. And, when can we expect seeing REOs come on the market? Because, a lot has changed since COVID, and there's been a moratorium on foreclosures and on evictions, and that's really put kind of like a standstill on REOs and how they've hit the market. So with some of the different areas lifting their moratoriums, they're starting to see a little bit of change, right?
They said a little trickle.
Just like a trickle of REOs coming on the market. And a lot of the agents who were there, that's their specialty. That's all they do is REO. And so some of these agents, they have gone, 18 months without having a bulk of their business coming in with assets. Right. So they want to know when are these properties going to start coming on the market? And not to be insensitive, a lot of them said, but they want to be at work, right? And lucky for the general public who, are experiencing these challenges and are facing foreclosure, there's a lot of programs out there that could keep them in their home. And I think one of the things that we got from there is a lot of the servicers are working with the lenders to keep people in their homes.
That was, so we went into a bunch of different classes. A lot of them were REO Lab this, REO Lab that, right? And it was the same message hitting home every single time. Mm-hmm. Whether, from different servicers or Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae, the ultimate goal of these organizations are to keep people in their homes.
Right.
And to promote home ownership.
Right.
Right. So we say that, and the reason this is important, we have so many buyers that have been waiting for the market to collapse for the last 5 years.
Right. They think that there's going to be this big crash, and sorry to burst the bubble, but I don't think there's going to be a big crash.
And everybody's in agreement. And these are the top people, just so you guys know, they're way above our pay scale. These are the top people in the country dealing with real estate,
right.
Okay? Specifically foreclosures. And what they're saying is, one, everybody has equity in their home. Mm-hmm. The majority of people have equity in their home. All right, so that's something very important to just remember, that part of it. Okay, so now there are a lot of people that haven't made payments in 12 months or more.
Right, their forbearance packages are going to be coming due soon.
Right, so now there's something that you have to do, okay? Right. So, sure, I'm sure there's going to be people that fall through the cracks, unfortunately. But for the majority of them, they're probably going to be offered some kind of plan to put that money that they haven't paid in 12 months or more on the back end of their loan. I think loan modifications are going to be...
Loan modifications are definitely going to be coming back. That along with, I don't think we'll be into the short sale situation with those particular homeowners, but for people who may be buying now who fall in hard times, that might be an option as well. But you're looking at a lot of these owners of the assets, they know that there's equity in the market. So it's not going to be like the last time around where they would just throw a property on the market and then see what we can get for it and take the lowest amount of money. They're willing to invest in those properties to keep the values high and reinvest in these communities because it's in their best interest so the market doesn't come crashing down.
Sure.
So,
and they want to protect their assets.
They want to protect their assets.
So that it was cool because this is something that we don't really know a ton about. We know it from the retail side, from working with buyers and sellers. But we've never worked directly with banks and asset managers and Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae.
Right.
So it was really great to get that perspective. And basically what they're saying is, now this is important for everybody out there that's, again, hoping the market's going to crash.
Right.
It's not going to crash. Okay. They believe, first, we have a 3.5 million housing shortage in the United States.
Right.
Okay. The price of goods is through the roof. So the construction's a little slow. All right. So that is probably going to stretch out our market a little bit longer.
Right.
Okay. That's the first thing. So 3.5 million shortage, right?
And basic supply and demand.
Basic supply and demand. Interest rates are still low.
Right.
So people still want to buy homes.
They need somewhere to live. And a lot of the people who are moving from areas that they weren't able to spend a lot of time with their families in, and, they're moving from the major cities to suburbs. Some of them just moved and they're renting. They're waiting for houses. And there's a huge demand for that.
Right. Because people wanted to get out of cities or whatnot, and they wanted more space. So the ones that couldn't find homes, they're renting now. Right. But this is critical. They believe that foreclosures, because now that they're lifting moratoriums, just because the federal government is lifting moratoriums, doesn't mean the states will not lift.
Right.
The states can still stretch it out. We're in California. This is a very, friendly state to homeowners, right? And renters and whatnot. So it could be, stretched out here in New York and a lot of states. So we also don't know that. That's a big variable. What they're saying, though, is they think it's going to be 18 to 24 months
before you start seeing the REO supply hitting the market.
And we're not going to see it like we did in 2010 through 2012, where there's 25 foreclosures or foreclosed homes in Santa Cruz at one time coming out the same day.
Right.
They're gonna slowly let the stuff out. And we met a lot of people from a lot of different companies out there that all they do is they preserve the homes. So they're going in there with their construction crews. They're basically making the home look pretty, right? They're whatever they do, flooring, carpets, kitchen, bathrooms. The banks are now wanting to do this because they don't want to let that house go under market.
Right.
They want top dollar for that house as well.
Absolutely.
So for anybody that's been sitting on the sidelines and they're praying that the market's going to collapse, it's not going to collapse. So I don't know. When's a good time to buy?
I think the best time to buy is when the time is right for you, right? So everyone has a different situation. And if you're holding out thinking that REOs are coming, you might be waiting a little bit longer than you originally thought. So that's one of the biggest takeaways. We'd love to share more information about what we learned for anyone who wants even more details. Please reach out to us, send us a direct message. And for those of you who have just joined us, it looks like Dave Savanian.
Big Dave.
Great to see you joining us here. We are Corey and Chris Silva, and we're the owners of Silva Realty and Silva Lending. And you are joining us on our podcast, R&R Relationships and Real Estate. So thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. It's nice. It's nice to see you there. Hopefully, I get to see you in person soon. That was really big. Oh, Professor Lecca, hello. Oh, thank you for welcoming us back home.
It's good to be back. We really wanted to be back so bad.
We were ready.
Yes.
But I just want to wrap up Texas, though.
Okay, keep going.
Just because there was such a wealth of knowledge that we got from Texas that really opened our eyes. And for us, for people that know us and that know us professionally, We've been doing loans in real estate a long time. There's not too many people that do both in our business. And we're looking at possibly trying to get into REO. That was the idea, right? But now that I went there, that's something we got to talk about. I don't even know if it's something that makes a lot of sense, because they're talking about 2 years from now, REO's coming out. And there's people that they looked at us like we were brand new agents, being in the business 17 years. They got people doing REOs, agents doing REOs for like 35 years. And they're like, oh, good luck.
Yeah, but listen, when we went there, I saw it as an opportunity because there weren't that many people there. And the majority of the demographic was probably going to be exiting the market probably very soon.
Sure. I think the young REO agents were probably in their 50s.
Right.
A lot of them were in their 60s. Some people were in their 70s. Been doing REOs for 40 years.
Yeah. That's a lot of time to invest in REOs. So
Sure. So, that's something that we'll visit, that we'll continue to talk about, figure out if that's something that we want to dive into.
Definitely was eye-opening, though, to gain some perspective on the hard work that's involved on the REO side and the relationships that you have to build, because you're no longer dealing with a family as your client. You're dealing with an asset manager and a bank, and you need to make sure that they're happy. So, this is all part of real estate and relationships, right? And real estate is relationships, and who you know and who you're talking with, and just putting your best foot forward and always keeping your client the first, and their interests in mind first, and nobody else's.
One last thing that I brought back from Texas was this rib. It's still in my stomach. It's going to be there, I think, for weeks.
I think so, because let me tell you. Oh, the biggest thing I take back from Texas is everything is a huge there, from the freeways, from the airport, from every single restaurant is huge. Did anyone get a chance to take a look at our social media? If you haven't, please go there. Chris had ordered one rib, and Chris Rock would be so envious with that one rib.
You get a lot for one rib.
Oh, my Lord. Take a look at it. It was like the size of his face for one rib, and now he's paying for it.
It was humongous. So we planned out this rib, right? So you have to be awake at these conferences. You got to be ready. You got to be ready to rock and roll. So you can't eat barbecue and then go sit in a classroom. You're going to fall asleep.
Right. So we wanted
to do it before we came back home, right?
As soon as we got there, we're like, what's the best food to get? And everyone kept recommending this place called Pecan Lodge for barbecue. And I'm like, okay, we're going to go have barbecue. And I don't eat meat, but I was like, I will do it because we're in Texas. Okay, whatever. I'll have a little bit of meat.
How many times have you seen over 5,000 reviews on Yelp? 5,000. That's something you got to take that serious.
Yes.
4.5 stars. 5,000 reviews. We had to try it.
But Chris planned it out. He said, let's wait till the last day, because I'm not going to be sleeping in this conference. I need to be awake.
Sure.
So we went, and this guy, oh my gosh.
So the food was amazing. I'm not a big, I started eating meat again for people that are like, oh my God, I thought you were a vegetarian or vegan or whatnot. I started eating meat during the pandemic because I thought, YOLO, right? Who knows if we're going to make it out of this pandemic, so I might as well go out and eat a steak. Yeah. So anyhow, best mac and cheese I ever had. Potato salad was off the chain. The rib was amazing. I'm more of a pork rib type of guy. And I was going to get pork ribs, but Corey's like, listen to the lady. She's telling you to get a beef rib.
He's over there asking the lady, what should I order? And what's good here? They literally have 5 options on what to order, okay? It's not like he's at the Cheesecake Factory with like a huge selection. And so she goes, oh, everybody loves the beef rib. And then he's like, well, what about? And I was like, are you sitting here arguing with this woman?
I was not arguing.
Order what she said to order. Okay, fine. But it's so big. How am I going to eat it?
I almost
just
ate it
order
all.
it. He almost did eat it all.
But I'm still burping now. Like I tried to let them all out before the show.
Well, good thing we don't have smell-o-vision, because that would have been horrible.
Oh my gosh. I'm still digesting that rib from was it Tuesday?
Well, now you just grossed everybody out.
No, so talk about being grossed out. So I don't get motion sickness. Like I get it with the camera bouncing up watching the show, but I could ride on a boat, I could be in the backseat of a car, I could be on a plane, I could be reading, writing, no sickness whatsoever. So I'm new to Uber. I don't even have the app. Corey does all the Uber stuff, right? So she went ahead and booked us a ride, and she goes, babe, it's only like a couple dollars more and you get this comfort
Okay, yeah. So
Right.
all of you who are not familiar with Uber, they have like the basic, which is like economy. Then they've got the comfort, and then they've got like the black, what they call it, the black something, and then they have like a little red carpet drawn out when you go to order it. So I'm like, okay, we need to get the comfort for the way to the airport, because I've kind of become like a connoisseur now with
You're
Uber.
bougie.
No, I'm not bougie. What?
You're uber bougie.
You're the one who said you wanted comfort. Okay, so anyway, so we do the comfort, and mind you, now we're kind of becoming experts with Uber after these
You
last
are.
4 days.
I'm not. You were.
Yeah, but it still feels weird getting in a car with a stranger and hoping that they get you somewhere safely. So we're just ready to get home, right? This Uber guy pulls up, and I'm sorry, that car was not comfortable at all. But that's the first strike, right? So then we get in his car.
No, before there was a second strike.
He didn't offer to even help Chris put the luggage in the car, which I'm like, okay, you aren't getting a tip. So then Chris gets in the car and we start driving. Dude misses the freeway. I was like, did you just miss that turn? Because I pay attention. He's on his phone doing what he has to do, but my life is in this man's hand. Like, you better get me to that airport because I need to see my babies. I am sick of being here. I want to be home. So I noticed that he missed the on-ramp, and the only reason I knew is because we've been taking Uber for the last 4 or 5 days, so I kind of know my way around Dallas now. And I look at the little rearview mirror, and his eyes were bloodshot.
Bloodshot red.
Oh, my Lord. I'm like, I don't smell liquor in here. Thank goodness. I hope he's not drunk. I'm like, but maybe he's super sleep deprived. Like, what is happening right now? And this guy's still on his phone. He don't even know that we missed the freeway, but okay. And I want to be careful and discreet because this guy's got my life in his hands, right? He's the one driving us.
Sure.
So we get on the freeway and I'm like, please, no, please just then he does the driving. You guys know the driver
Lord.
that you never want to be in the car with, who accelerates and then slows down. Oh my gosh, I was getting so nauseous.
We just had that big old, I had that big old
burping
steak.
at barbecue. Oh, it was
Steak, pork chop, rib.
okay, yeah, your rib. So I was like so nauseous, like please let us just get to the airport. Then he almost crashed.
Multiple times.
Like after the first time, I was like, oh my gosh, I was so tense. I just wanted to be to the airport. And then to top it off, he had religious music playing. And I'm like, what kind of sick joke is this? Like, I don't really understand what's happening right now.
So he had two phones because he had one telling him where to go. And then his phone's ringing. He already almost like swerved and we're hitting the little...
the little things that make you wake up.
Right? So I was hoping to make him wake up. And then he swerves back in, then his phone goes off.
And he's fumbling trying to get his phone and almost crashed.
He's trying to get the phone and he's driving and he's swerving. And then he's got like I think it's called Christian rock. He's got Christian rock. I mean, it's going and he's feeling it too. You could see him. I'm sure if his mask was down, we would have saw his mouth all into it. But I was like, Jesus, take the wheel, because I don't know if we're gonna make it, and I want to see our babies.
And then we got to the airport, and he dropped us off where arrivals were, not where departures were. And I thought I was gonna have to get in a yelling match with the guy because I'm like, are we in the right place? Like, I just want to make sure I'm here. So, anyways, it was the right place. We were able to check in. Thank the Lord that we made it there safely. But we were nauseous and burping at the check-in stand, and it was just all bad. So
this is Professor
careful.
Art. Professor Art just joined us, and he says I should have choked him out. I could have choked him out because he was in the driver's seat, but then
we would have crashed.
We definitely would have crashed. Yeah, and there's just so many things that it was all bad. I now, once we were sitting there and I'm paying attention more, the guy had the handicap thing. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe that's why he didn't help us with the bags. But whatever his situation is, there's no way that guy should be an Uber driver. That's like the worst job for him on the planet. He needs to find something else to do.
You know me and my reviews. I already reviewed him, and hopefully he doesn't scare anybody's make anyone else's day terrible and make them feel like they're going to lose their life on the airport, on the way to the airport, because that was horrible.
But we were representing Checkmat. I had my Checkmat sweater on the plane.
And so did I. And guess what? Someone who sat next to us, his wife works out at Checkmat, and was like, oh my gosh, I know that place. My wife works out there.
So we'll have to tell you about who it was when we see you in person, and maybe we'll see her in class. And I know I need to get back, but I won't be back till Monday to Checkmat rolling.
Hopefully by then the rib will be out of him.
The rib and the Disneyland fatigue.
Yes, for sure. Well, thank you everybody so much for joining us today. I'm so excited to see all the engagement. This is great. Please keep making comments and ask us some questions, because we'd love to talk with you.
And it doesn't always have to be real estate related, right?
No.
It's fun just to, you guys want to know about stuff in Texas that we just went on, or you want to know about Disneyland. She's turned into this Disneyland expert, so she gets nonstop posts, right? I mean,
comments.
DMs, comments on Disneyland stuff, right?
Yeah, I've had quite a few of our friends and family reach out to me. I'm like, Disneyland information, but I totally love sharing it. It gets me excited because I know how much fun I have when I'm there. So I just want to like make sure everybody else has the best time when they go there, because there's things that, like, you know, waiting in the long lines that could bring you down, but you just have to change your mindset and just think about how much fun you're having and how much your kids are, right?
Right.
So anyways, thank you all for being here. And if we wanted to talk a little bit about our the PAWS Center and some of the needs that they're having. So they need snacks and jackets, right?
Yeah, so obviously it's still hot, but we're going to need jackets. The weather's going to change.
Right.
So jackets, umbrellas would be great. Okay. But snacks, they need a ton of snacks. They're running really low on snacks right now. And we're going to be asking for a lot of help. And just want you to know, we never ask for help and then don't help ourselves. We're constantly helping and donating to the PAWS Center. So a couple things that we have on the horizon is Thanksgiving's right around the corner. I know we got Halloween first and whatnot, but Give a Turkey's coming up. So we're going to be asking for help on that. We're going to need volunteers. We're going to need Walmart gift cards, and we're going to need food. But that'll be later down. I just want to plant the seeds now. And then also what we need.
Keep going.
Also what we need is help for the Growl Center. So I touched on this a little bit last time. The Growl Center is also at Golden Valley High School, and that is more of a mental wellness space. Okay. And they need items for this space. And one of the things they really want to do is they have a little back outdoor area where they want to get a barbecue, right? We went to Walmart and we got to walk the store with one of the employees there and scan everything that we wanted. I'm trying to get a list back from Walmart of the scanned items so I can share them with you guys. But one thing that Walmart's agreed to do for us is give us 30% off of everything. Okay, so what I would love to do, if anybody can help out and wants to, team up and buy some of these items online, or donate Walmart gift cards, that would be great. Or if you want to go there, you're on your own, purchase the item, drop it off at Golden Valley, that would be great. But anybody that's interested in doing that, please reach out to us. We're going to be definitely getting some items ourselves, and I was going to talk to you about it. I'm thinking maybe we splurge and get the barbecue for
Yeah, definitely. I'm all about helping out the PAWS Center. They're just a great group of people who are there to help the children, and really that's like what we need to do. We need to be helping our community, especially the kids. So
my next meeting with them is on my birthday next week.
Awesome. Well, I don't mean to butt into your conversation, but I have to get out of here pretty soon because Nola will be getting out of school, and then I get to go pick up Santino.
Okay, well, this is not a show without you, so we'll be wrapping it up.
Okay, well, if anybody has anything they want to say in the last couple minutes or so, I'll probably be heading out by like 1:20 or so. So we have 2 minutes left, and I just wanted to take the time to say thank you again, everybody who joined us on the podcast today, R&R Relationships and Real Estate with Corey Silva and Chris Silva. We're the owners of Silva Realty and Silva Lending, and it's been fun reconnecting with everyone that we haven't seen on the podcast for the past 2 weeks. So,
yes. One last thing I want to mention. we did have a giveaway.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, for 100 subscribers on our YouTube. We hit that. We're running out of time now, so we're going to announce that. We'll probably put a video on YouTube and on IG and on Facebook announcing who the winner is. And then we're going to try to shoot for 250 now.
250?
Why not?
Okay.
So that'll be the next goal. And then we'll figure out, we'll maybe ask some comments back, but we'll have a new raffle for once we hit 250.
Awesome. I can't wait to hear what we're going to be giving away.
I can't wait to figure it out.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. And we're looking forward to seeing them again next Wednesday. Same
Yes.
bat place, same bat time.
12 o'clock.
12 o'clock next Wednesday. So thank you all for joining us today. Do you have anything else you would like to add?
That is it.
Okay. Well, you guys enjoy the rest of your week.
Bye.
Bye.